What if everything you've believed about success is wrong? What if talent, luck, or even motivation aren't the real game changers? What if the secret weapon is rhythm? See, real success doesn't roar. It repeats. It's not born in big wins, but in small silent victories repeated every single day. It's not about the spotlight. It's about the sunrise, the quiet hour when the world is asleep and you decide to rise. Most people think they're falling behind because they're not naturally gifted. They watch others take off while they wait. Wait for clarity, wait for motivation, wait for the perfect moment. And when results don't come quickly, they question everything. So they stop. But what if they were just 3 days away from the breakthrough? You don't grow a mighty oak tree by dumping a bucket of water once a month. You water it daily, even when it looks like nothing's happening, especially then, because the real growth, it's underground, quiet, steady, invisible to the eye, but unstoppable in time. The problem isn't time, it's rhythm. Most people are chasing long weekends and highlight reels. Masters, they build sacred hours, deliberate minutes every single day. They don't hope the moment comes, they create it, then repeat it, again and again. This is where the shift begins, because the truth is, greatness doesn't come from flashes of genius. It comes from faithful repetition. You don't have to shine, you just have to show up, quietly, consistently, over and over again. Imagine this. A man wakes before dawn, every single day. He lights his lamp, no one sees him, no one claps. But brick by brick, habit by habit, he builds something unshakable. While others snooze, he sharpens. He sharpens not because someone told him to, but because he knows who he's becoming. And that man, he builds in silence. You might think the silence in your life means you're failing, but maybe it means you're early. You're not off track, you're just underground, growing roots. And when you finally break through, they'll call you an overnight success. But you'll know it was years in the making. Let's be honest, consistency is boring. That's why it works. No applause, no fireworks. Just you doing the same thing again and again until it becomes part of who you are. Until it no longer takes discipline, it becomes identity. And that shift, that's where everything changes. Think about the athletes who train before sunrise, the writers who pen pages in silence, the builders who lay bricks while no one watches. Their greatness isn't in a single act. It's in the countless moments when quitting seemed easier, but they kept going. It's in the days they chose to show up, even when no one would have noticed if they didn't. That's the edge the world forgets. That's the power you're about to tap into. So here's the challenge. Own your first waking hour. Before the noise, before the scroll, before the chaos. Just you, your craft, and your rhythm. 1 week. That's it. Show up early for you, for the man you're becoming. Let that hour be untouchable, sacred, because the world doesn't reward the loud. It remembers the consistent, the quiet builders, the ones who don't wait for permission. They move, and in their movement, they rise. They rise not once, but daily. They don't seek lightning, they become the storm. And today you begin, not with noise, not with fanfare, but with rhythm. The kind of rhythm that can't be shaken because it comes from a place deeper than motivation. It comes from will. You begin because you're done waiting, because your future is waiting for you to act. This isn't about hype, this is about habit, the invisible structure of every success story. And now it's yours to build. Brick by brick, minute by minute, day by day. Start now. And don't look back, because no one else is coming. No one's gonna knock on your door with a golden ticket. The responsibility, the power, the transformation, it's all in your hands. Not tomorrow, not next year, but now. You've waited long enough. It's your time. Step forward, show up, build in silence. Let them wonder how you did it. And one day when they ask, you'll simply smile and say, I never stopped. Success isn't built in noise. It's shaped in stillness. Not in the celebration, but in the solitude. And this is the part no one tells you about. The grind no one sees. You see the highlight reels, the end results. But what you don't see is the silent war behind them. The days when motivation disappears. The mornings when the alarm feels like a weight. The nights when doubt grows louder than dreams. But still, you show up. You show up tired. You show up unnoticed. But you show up. Because that's the real test. Not when everything's working, but when nothing is, and you go anyway. When no one asks how you're doing because they don't see the effort. When there's no feedback, no confirmation, and yet you keep moving. This is where willpower is born. Not in the spotlight, but in the shadows. Not when you're surrounded, but when you're alone. That's where something unshakable begins to grow. That's where you stop performing and start becoming. It's where you choose your future over your feelings. The ones who win, they're not more gifted. They're just more loyal to the process. They do the boring things long after others quit. They stay the course long after the applause dies. They endure the silence and find clarity inside it. Because in the silence, they're not looking for noise. They're looking for truth. Most people quit here, right here, in this stillness. They confuse quiet with failure. But growth is quiet. Breakthroughs are invisible until they're not. And mastery? It doesn't announce itself. It builds quietly inside discipline. It waits for the patient, not the passionate. Think of the ironworker in a dark shop, swinging the same hammer on the same steel again and again. It's hot, it's heavy, it's silent, but every strike makes the metal stronger, and every strike shapes the man swinging it. His muscles remember, his hands harden, his vision sharpens. No one sees it, but it's happening. Not instantly, but inevitably. That's you. You're not just building results, you're building resolve. Mental steel, grit, the kind that doesn't need a crowd, the kind that doesn't stop when it gets boring, the kind that doesn't check the scoreboard, it builds one. And when the world forgets you, that's when you get dangerous. Because your reasons get clearer. Because your loyalty deepens. You stop working for permission. You start working from principle. That shift? It's rare. It's powerful. It's what separates those who want it from those who become it. Ask yourself, are you doing this for credit or for character? One disappears when pressure rises. The other endures. One fades with applause. The other strengthens in silence. This season, it's not punishment, it's preparation, the repetition, the quiet, the lack of results. It's carving a version of you that distraction could never build. It's testing your reasons, refining your identity, proving you to yourself. So build a rhythm, a ritual. Not for perfection, but for proof. Proof that you're still here, that you're serious, that you've made a vow to show up for your future self. Write it down, make it visible to you. Not for others, for the part of you that forgets how far you've come. Let that record remind you when your mind wants to quit. Let it be a mirror when you forget who you are. You won't see the changes right away. You'll wonder if it's worth it. But keep showing up. Brick by brick, you're becoming someone unstoppable. Someone who walks through boredom like it's a doorway, not a dead end. Someone who no longer needs results to continue. Because purpose became the reason. Because here's the secret. Boredom is where most people turn back. But it's also where the road clears, where the amateurs drop and the serious begin. This is where greatness starts, not in celebration, but in quiet commitment. In the moment you decide, this matters, even if no one's watching. Because the grind no one sees, that's the one that changes everything. And today, you chose to be the one who keeps going. And that choice, it changes everything. Most people give up right here, in the silence, in the boredom, in the stretch where nothing seems to move. They think, if I was doing it right, it wouldn't feel like this. But that's the lie. Because the silence is where the magic begins. It's not a mistake. It's the very condition required for transformation. The truth is, the biggest breakthroughs don't scream, they whisper, and only those who stay long enough can hear them. You might be in that phase right now. You've been showing up, doing the work, following the process, but it feels like nothing is changing. No results, no momentum, no reward. You wonder if it's all for nothing. That voice inside you starts to say, maybe I'm just not cut out for this. But what if you're just early? Think about planting a seed. You water it, cover it, and wait for days, maybe weeks, nothing. It's tempting to think you failed, but beneath the surface, roots are forming. A system is taking hold, quietly, invisibly, and one day it breaks through. That little green shoot surprises everyone, except the one who never stopped showing up. Success works the same way. The boredom, the silence, the stretch of no progress, that's the incubation phase. That's when the transformation is happening beneath the surface. But most people don't stay long enough to find out. They stop watering. They walk away. Inches before the roots break through. They think the quiet means nothing is working. But in truth, it means everything is. This is the danger zone, the invisible wall where 90% of people turn back. They mistake silence for failure, boredom for a lack of purpose. But not you. Because now you know the truth. Boredom isn't a red flag. It's a rite of passage. It's the toll booth on the road to greatness, the place where the impatient leave and the committed rise. Your results are boring before they're brilliant. That's not a flaw. That's the formula. You're not stuck. You're compounding quietly, daily, invisibly. You are building something real, something that lasts. So here's what you do. You keep showing up. You keep watering. You keep writing the next page, even when the last one didn't move you. Because you might be one page away from the moment that shifts everything. You might be one set away from seeing your strength double, one early morning away from a breakthrough idea, one quiet decision away from becoming the person you've been chasing. But you'll never know if you stop. Silence doesn't mean you're off track. It means you're close. Close to the shift, close to the bloom, close to becoming undeniable. Track your effort, not your excitement. Track your showing up, not just your results. Let consistency become your scoreboard and boredom your proving ground. When it's boring, double down. When it's slow, go steady. When it's silent, listen deeper. This is how champions are built, not by talent, but by the refusal to quit when things feel pointless. Champions don't need noise, they need rhythm. There will be days when you wonder if it's worth it, days when the world keeps spinning and you feel invisible. But remember, everything worthwhile is uphill, and your ability to climb through the mundane, that's your edge, that's your test, that's your training ground. You don't need another motivational video. You don't need louder music or bigger goals. You need rhythm. You need roots. You need that quiet conviction that says, I will not stop. Because what you're building isn't just results, it's identity. So if you're in that quiet place today, stay. If you're feeling stuck, stay. If you're hearing nothing back, stay. Because the breakthrough, it's buried here. In the dull, in the repetition, in the days no one sees. And when it comes, it won't just change your life. It will validate every ordinary moment that got you here, every unnoticed decision, every early alarm, every page written in silence. So, if you haven't already, subscribe. Join this journey with those who are choosing rhythm over hype, who believe that silence is a sign they're early, not that they're wrong. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. Save this message for the days when doubt gets loud. And above all, keep showing up. For you, for your future, for the life you're building. Stay consistent, stay committed, and I'll see you on the other side. This is it, the final stretch, the last threshold, the quiet frontier that most never cross, not because they aren't strong, but because they never prepared for what it demands. This edge doesn't reward speed. It doesn't respond to noise. It recognizes only one thing, resolve. Anyone can start with fire, most do. But here's the truth, the fire isn't enough, because fire fades, motivation dips, enthusiasm drains, and when that happens, most men fall away. They look for new beginnings instead of learning how to finish strong. But not you. You've stayed. You've endured the silence. You've grown roots while others chased sparks. You've discovered that legacy doesn't begin with loud. It begins with quiet repetition. You've outlasted the honeymoon. You've passed through the repetition. You've stared down boredom and kept going. That's rare, because this phase, the final edge, is where the true transformation happens. Not when you set the goal, not when you win the prize, but when you decide, day after day, to honor a vow no one else sees. That vow, it's what makes you unshakable. You no longer rise and fall with mood. You no longer need applause to stay consistent. You don't chase energy, you create rhythm. You've chosen identity over intensity, purpose over passion, permanence over praise. And that choice, it shows in everything. The early mornings you don't skip, the routines you protect, the values you won't bend. You've stopped performing. You've started building. You've become a man of substance, not flash. You lead yourself in the quiet, and it shows in your presence. This is what separates you now. You don't just act, you anchor. You don't just do, you endure. You don't just finish, you begin again. When someone asks how you stayed in it so long, you'll tell them, I didn't need a crowd. I just needed a reason. Because that's what this edge demands. Clarity of purpose. Conviction of self, commitment without condition. Every step you take now is legacy in motion. Not because you're perfect, but because you're consistent, and consistency changes everything. This is where you shift from seeker to steward. You stop chasing outcomes and start cultivating character. You become the kind of man who finishes, not for the world, but for himself. And the finish? It's not loud, it's not cinematic, it's a quiet moment of integrity that echoes for a lifetime. You've earned this moment, not with talent, not with tricks, but with daily truth. I said I would, so I did. Now the question is, what's next? Because this edge isn't an ending, it's an invitation to build deeper, to lead clearer, to begin again with stronger hands and a sharper heart. So pause, breathe, then take the next step, not because you must, because you can. Because you've proven to yourself that you're no longer a man who quits when it gets quiet. You're the man who builds when it's still, who finishes when it's boring, who thrives when no one's watching. If this resonated with you, subscribe Mindset Mastery Hub, not to be entertained, but to be anchored. This space is for men like you, men who finish what they start, who rise without the roar, who lead from the inside out. And if you know someone on the edge of quitting, send this to him. Let him see what's possible when you stay. This is your edge. This is your place. Not the end, but the start of something deeper. So finish strong, then rise again, wiser, clearer, unshakable. And if you're ready to go deeper, don't miss this. Napoleon Hill's formula for self-mastery and inner strength, where we unlock the inner mechanics of unstoppable men.